All right, wake up. No, seriously. You've just opened your eyes and realized you're not in your bed. You're lying on a lumpy sack of straw in a room that smells like someone boiled cabbage in a sock 3 months ago. There's no memory foam, no pillow-top mattress, just scratchy wool blankets that are doing a terrible job keeping you warm because this room is basically for stone walls and a window with no glass. You stretch, immediately regret it. The bed creaks ominously and you're pretty sure something just moved inside it. Congratulations, you've met your first medieval roommate, the flea. Your nose twitches, that smell. It's a mix of damp wood, stale air, and something else you don't want to identify before breakfast. Which, by the way, is waiting for you in a wooden bowl by the hearth. It's grey, it's watery. It's called pottage, and if you squint hard enough, you might see a vegetable in there. You try to act grateful. After all, this is the good life. Most peasants are already out in the fields before dawn, and here you are, sipping your warm grain sludge. But don't get too comfortable, because breakfast comes with a side of entertainment. A neighbor walks in, coughing like they've swallowed gravel, and you remember, oh right, no antibiotics. You might survive the straw mattress, but the Black Death, different story. Now, let's say you somehow dodge that particular nightmare. You step outside, ready to explore. The streets aren't cobblestoned like in fairy tales. They're mud. Real mud. And since there's no plumbing, all sorts of things end up in it. Watch your step, and maybe your soul. You're already thinking, okay, but at least the air is fresh, right? Sure. If your definition of fresh includes smoke from a dozen fires, the tang of manure, and the sharp, metallic scent of a blacksmith's forge all blended into one. And here's the thing, you haven't even made it to midday yet. By the time the church bells ring noon, you'll have faced something far worse than hunger or bad smells. Something that might make you wish you never left that flea-infested straw sack in the first place. The bells are loud, deafening, actually. They don't politely chime, they slam into your ears, like an angry tin can being beaten by a blacksmith. And since clocks aren't really a household thing yet, the bells are your only reminder that it's noon, and that the village market is in full swing. You shuffle toward it, trying to blend in. Problem is, you don't. Your clothes are too clean, your teeth suspiciously intact, and you keep staring at things like you've just been dropped here by a confused time traveler, which, technically, you have. The market itself. Imagine your local farmer's market, but replace the artisanal goat cheese with actual goats, and they're not samples. They're alive, loud, and sometimes nibbling on your tunic. Every table you pass smells like a different chapter in a medieval horror story. Dried fish that's older than you'd like to think about, meat pies that may or may not contain an entire mystery animal, and wheels of cheese so pungent they could be considered a form of chemical warfare. You try to make small talk, but the locals aren't exactly the, hey, where are you from, type. They're more the, why are you staring at my turnips, type. Also, eye contact here is risky, too much, and it's aggressive. Too little, and you're hiding something. Then you hear it, a commotion at the other end of the market. Someone's shouting, angry, sharp, guttural. You push through the crowd just enough to see a man being dragged by 2 guards, his hands bound, his face pale. The crowd mutters, you catch snippets, stole bread, public punishment, stocks. Your stomach knots. Not because of the crime, because you realize you're about to learn what justice really means here. And trust me, it's not going to look like anything you've seen in a courtroom drama. And that's when you see it, the stocks. They're not a prop from a Renaissance fair. They're rough-hewn wood, splintered from years of use, sitting in the middle of the square like a warning. The man is shoved inside, his head and hands locked in place. No trial, no paperwork, just thunk, and he's in. At first, you think, okay, uncomfortable, but not deadly. And then the real punishment starts. Kids throw clumps of mud. Adults spit accurately, like they've been training for this all their lives. Someone lobs what you hope is just a rotten tomato, but judging by the smell, nope, definitely not a tomato. The worst part, everyone's laughing. It's a festival of humiliation. And you realize this isn't just about the man in the stocks. It's about reminding everyone what happens when you break the rules. You included. You start to back away, heart thudding, because suddenly you're aware. Your modern sneakers, your cleanish hands, even the way you walk could be suspicious here. One wrong word, one wrong glance, and you could be next in line for public entertainment. The church bells ring again, but this time the sound feels heavier, like a signal. People are packing up stalls, heading toward the edge of the village. You catch snippets of chatter, something about the Lord's men, tax collection, and a hanging. Your stomach drops. You follow the crowd anyway. You shouldn't, but something tells you that what's coming next will make the stocks look like a warm-up act. You reach the edge of the village, the crowd pressing close, the air charged in that strange, tense way when everyone knows something bad is about to happen, but they've shown up anyway. The Lord's men arrive first, 3 on horseback, armor dulled from use, eyes scanning the crowd like they already own every person here. And in a way, they do. One reads out the taxes owed. Nobody argues. You watch as coins, sacks of grain, even a goat are handed over. Payment isn't optional, it's survival. Then comes the hanging. The condemned man is led to the gallows, pale but quiet. There's no speech, no last words, just the creak of the rope and the muffled cough of the executioner. You blink, and it's over. The crowd disperses almost casually, like they've just watched a street performance instead of a death. You stand there, stunned, until you feel a hand on your shoulder. It's rough, calloused. You turn, the man leans in close, breath hot with ale, and whispers, "You don't belong here." Before you can answer, he's gone, slipping into the thinning crowd. But you're left with a question you can't shake. If he noticed, how many others have night falls before you find a way out? What will they decide to do with you? I can carry this into the night scene, where the real dangers begin once the sun goes down and the village changes. Our next video, we're pulling back the velvet curtain on the woman who ruled an empire while her body was silently betraying her. A queen whose limbs decayed while her power remained absolute. A body rotting in real time while her subjects still bowed and kissed her hand. And after that, we'll meet the Duchess who defied centuries of pressure because she knew her bloodline was a ticking time bomb. You've heard the myths. Now you'll see the real horror hidden behind royal lace and gold leaf. The portraits get darker from here. All right, you've dimmed the lights. You're cozy, hopefully not eating, because where we're going, it smells like damp velvet, gout cream, and the faintest whiff of cousin kissing. You wake up in a stone-cold castle. Drafty halls, everything candlelit. Your corset is 2 sizes too tight, and your husband, oh he's your uncle, or your nephew, or both. Welcome to European royalty. Let's start with the OG of inbred elegance. Juana of Castile, aka Juana la Loca. Now, people called her mad. But let's be honest, your family tree looked more like a family wreath. You'd probably lose a few screws too. Juana was the daughter of Ferdinand and Isabella Yupp, the same ones who financed Columbus, and they thought the best way to keep power in the family was to keep the family in the family, over generations, repeatedly. Juana's genetics. Think of them like a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy. By the time she came around, there wasn't much ink left. She married Philip, the handsome. Spoiler alert. Was a stretch, but let's give her credit. She loved him obsessively. Like, carry his corpse around for months, obsessively. Yep, that happened. But was that true madness or the slow burn side effect of centuries of DNA playing the world's worst game of Uno? And then there's Maria Anna of Austria. Sweet girl, a Habsburg through and through, which meant she came with a jawline so prominent it could cut glass, and a gene pool so shallow it made a puddle look deep. At just 14, Maria Anna was married off to her uncle. Not uncle-like, fun guy who brings you snacks at family parties. No, her literal uncle, the kind you share a grandparent with. She gave birth to a son, Charles II of Spain, also known as the Bewitched. Charles had a jaw you could park a carriage in. He couldn't speak clearly, couldn't chew, and his autopsy revealed he had a heart the size of a peppercorn. Doctors didn't even know where to start. If a body could be a cautionary tale, he was it. But Maria Anna, she did what every royal woman was expected to do: smile through the deformities, bear the airs, and pretend like marrying your mum's brother was totally